Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. David is not going to be here tonight. He has the flu, and it is Mike, isn't it?
Yes.
Come on up. You're being assigned, you're being designated. And what I'm probably going to do the next time I have to designate an alternate is I'm probably going to alternate between.
You get the front row.
And here's a copy of the paperwork we have here. We need you to stay on top of everything.
I think it's important to, if there are ever working documents, this is important for both alternates. But if there's a working document, you typically, towns don't distribute those to the public because it creates confusion until the document is done. Did you hear that, Steve? So typically, and I don't know what's in here because I haven't looked, but typically if it's called a working document, especially with planning boards, we don't disperse those out to the public because it creates confusion. It's just a draft and working. Now, if a resident were to request a FOIA request, they would be allowed access, obviously, to those public records, but it's important not to distribute those, a working document, to not to the public in general. We just had an issue at Edmonton. So I typically put draft working document on everything, but a lot of people don't do that, so just a friendly note for everybody. I don't know what's in there.
Okay, next issue we'll take care of is the minutes for the previous meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written. Revision number 1.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor? Done. Okay, I'm going back to one of the issues that came up in the last meeting. Code enforcement officer had a question about which version of our ordinance in Chapter 8, dimensional requirements, was correct. And I first found, finally, the actual email to the town, a copy of it, for what the vote was to be.
Do you guys remember what he's talking about? Do you remember at Article 8, I was panicked because there was 2 minimum lot sizes for residential, for a creation of a lot. And we had to propose changes, and so Bruce killed it, did awesome, in a good way, and found this email chain that shows it was voted.
That, and we have just checked in the office and found the actual warrant. Well, it's not really a warrant. I'm not sure what you call it. It was done at a November 7th, 2017, during the regular vote.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, date of voting on the first Tuesday of November. So,
which I commend you, Bruce, for finding that, because just to be clear, I had just made the decision to go with the old proposed to delete number, because I knew that was in the original ordinance, and I had no proof that the changes were voted on, so yeah, I commend you for finding that, because it's super important, and I am tickled pink.
So what is going to happen now is that these 2 entries in the table having to do with dimensional requirements that were voted to be replaced we will remove and reprint Article 8 for the office. And that will eliminate the confusion.
Yep. That's awesome.
And that should have been handled by the chairman at the time, but like a lot of little things, it slipped through the cracks.
If I remember correctly, that's just about the time you started to go through all this fun stuff.
Yeah, so just to get that out of the way, so it's made public. The other issue that I believe Ally brought up to us was whether the planning board wanted to input on this proposed ordinance for property maintenance. And
So,
what just so you know, I've got here a copy, and everyone here has a copy that she emailed of the Eddington zoning ordinance as it exists. I then transferred that to a Word document, which I'm going to send her, so it can be modified. Because in its existing form as Eddington, it was impossible to do anything with it.
yeah, no, and I can easily. If you send this to me, I can easily modify it.
I'm thinking that the name at the top needs to be changed, because this is going to be a standalone ordinance.
Absolutely. Well,
And the only other item I would like everyone here to take a look at is the definition of trash. I think it's a little broad in that you could have someone with a couple sticks of wood or a couple car parts in their yard, and the neighbor could complain.
yeah, no, I don't. Let me look. So John and Trish met. Let me just see. And John made a draft too. And it's a little bit different than this. His is more focused on litter. Let me just see what their definition is in this and see if we like it better.
Well, the reason I wanted to bring it up was I intend to send, because I just finished transferring this all over.
Oh, I wish you had asked me. I could have helped you. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right, because what it amounted to was when I tried to just cut and paste, it kept trying to format it in weird ways.
Yep.
So I ended up starting a brand new format
Yeah.
and then cutting and pasting text only.
Yeah. So so once we can talk about this in a second, if we decide we like this, and then I'll explain this other thing here, and it's going to be a standalone ordinance, I'll have to add some sections at the beginning that go in any ordinance. We'll add definitions in more detail than this at the bottom of it, and then that would be a full draft.
My recommendation, and if anybody wants to comment on it, feel free here, is that it be a standalone ordinance, because if we find there are any issues with it, it'll be much easier to modify and get a vote on than trying to combine it into our existing land use ordinance. Because this really doesn't apply to land use, it's health and safety.
Yeah, I'm looking right now in our general performance standards to see if there's anything. I don't think you guys got anything. Oh, I'm so confused. I think it's a good idea. I support that. If I get a vote. I'm putting that in.
A lot of us, you know, challenge.
Pardon?
A lot of it will be open to challenge.
Exactly. I think it's a little too broad under the trash. I don't really have a problem with the definition of garbage.
Well, actually, I have a question regarding garbage because by the description, other organic waste materials subject to rapid decomposition, isn't that compost pile?
No, so what this is for, so I have to send two of the towns where they have to use it. I have to use it when there are big trash piles, and I only really come if rats are being, it's attracting rats and stuff, but there was an incident with someone who had a pig farm in Edmonton, and they weren't taking care of the waste properly, and so then it was a giant mess, and they used this. I wanted, before we dive into this too much, John, Williams, and Trish they wanted to go more of the route of litter. So this is property maintenance standards. Like I said, we only use it if there's like an abundance of trash in someone's yard or if there's a rat infestation. Those are really the only two times I've ever used it. I mean, two instances that I've used it.
Composting, by the way, is specifically exempted.
What is that?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Just so we don't get tied up in it.
Well, right, that stuff's not in there yet.
I mean, it's just describing it, there's nothing,
Yeah,
no penalties.
right, so I would, if we decide to go both routes, either route, however, we'd write the ordinance, present it to the select board, see if they agree or disagree, do a public hearing, have it voted on, and then the select board would set fees and fines if they're different than what the state 30 MRS area Title A is. So typically it's like between $250 and $1,000. So, you know, I'd have to look exactly what litter and see if I'll find
The
something.
state doesn't have a definition, do they, by chance?
So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So they have, in this one, it's got litter, which means all waste materials, including but not limited to glass, crockery, cans, scrap metal, junk, paper, garbage, rubbish, brush. I mean, it keeps going. Do you want me to print this? Can you guys hear me if I read it out loud? Yeah, okay. I'm reading. Rubbish, brush, yard debris, offal, except waste parts or remains resulting from the normal field dressing of lawfully harvested wild game, or the lawful use of waste parts or remains of wild game as bait. Feathers, except feathers from live birds that were being transported. Abandoned ice fishing shacks, old automobiles or parts of automobiles or similar refuse, or disposable packages or containers thrown or deposited as prohibited in this chapter, but not including the waste of the primary processing of mining, logging, sawmilling, farming, or manufacturing. Littering includes waste materials resulting from or associated with the use of tobacco products, including but not limited to cigarette butts, all waste materials resulting from outdoor release or abandonment of a balloon, and all waste resulting from the use of consumer fireworks. Okay, so this one to me is too technical. This one to me is too loosey-goosey. I think we need to meet in the middle. Too broad, too
If you drive up and down Route 9 and the 180, somebody's gonna be busy. I mean, I don't think that's gonna fly.
Well, that's like, I tend to do some minor car work at home, and that includes brake jobs.
right.
And the way this is worded, I can't throw out my two rotors and leave them in a pile until I've got enough that's worth taking over the leads.
Okay, two things. One, I think we need to remember why are we even doing this? Because we don't want to make more work for no reason.
Yep.
And the issue is there some properties that the select board and the residents have asked me to enforce that I have no authority or means of doing. Most on the list are literally bags full of household waste that they are just piling up in the outside of their house.
Would there be any benefit to, on the trash aspect, to putting clauses about visible from other properties, or in other words, just having it in and of itself may not be
Correct.
bad, but if you have it concealed, for example, a perfect example that I would be guilty of right now, I use wood pellets on my outdoor boiler. They come on pallets.
Yeah.
Those pallets would then meet the definition of,
Well, it says over here, if you guys look at 1.2, it says like walls, fences, vegetation, or any other combination of materials you can be used for screening. And there's another sentence in here about organized, right? Like your pallets, I mean, unless they're scattered everywhere with trash bags, if they're organized, this would not apply. Correct. This would not apply to that. This is, like normally this is only triggered if there's a reason for it. So like the trash is a health hazard, the rats are an infestation, a health hazard. Someone having whatever you just mentioned, Bruce, or pallets, even if they were 2 or 3 scattered around your yard, that's not a health hazard. This isn't a we give a crap what your yard looks like. Though I'm sure some people do. I don't. This is health and sanitation, really.
Well, if that's what it is, I think it should be narrowed down just to that. Get rid of all the other stuff and just narrow it down to that.
Yeah, I'm not with you. I agree. Let's all right, I'm gonna make a note of that then.
It's too broad the way it is. I mean, you could fine everybody in Clifton, I think.
Yeah.
also, would there be any advantage to having an appeal process? For example, if there was a complaint and I look at it, you look at it, we all, yeah, that doesn't very good kind of thing, but the person could challenge that.
Well, like I said,
I mean, I wouldn't enforce this rule again unless it was a health sanitation reason.
and they should say that then.
Yeah, I agree. So the first sentence on this version says, the purpose of this ordinance is to prohibit the proliferation and accumulation of waste and litter throughout the town of Clifton and provide for the free utilization and enjoyment of a clean and healthy environment.
Please say that one more time.
Sure. I almost want to print this.
See, to me, it sounded a little wishy-washy.
Yeah, I know. I think, okay, it says the purpose of this ordinance is to prohibit the proliferation and accumulation of waste and litter throughout the town of Clifton and to provide for the free utilization and enjoyment of a clean and healthy environment. I agree with you guys. None of that's really working.
See, my biggest question is right now, I see a lot of trees that's down on lots
Mm-hmm.
that's undeveloped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's roadside.
Yeah.
You know, how would you enforce that one?
If it's trees, I wouldn't.
Yes, but on here it says,
Where? Let's look at it.
Plant cuttings.
Oh, no tree or shrub or vegetation shall block safe vision of sidewalk, driveway, or street. No dead trees, dead parts fallen, blah, 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 adjacent of people or property in the public way shall be permitted to remain. So I think that's when they had the windstorm and trees were falling. And I actually had this happen in Clifton recently. Tree fell and someone moved it to the side. Somebody else moved it across their driveway. It turned into this whole thing where the fact of the matter is all trees need to be cleaned up as soon as possible. Naturally falling trees and the town right away can be taken care of by the town. Naturally falling trees on private property that's not blocking anyone from driving, who cares? You know, we can't get weird with this too much.
well, no, I'm thinking about, you know, the ones that are getting rotted away and could fall. You know, tops already broke off. They're
Yeah,
still about 20 feet tall.
yeah.
Okay,
Are they in the right of way or on private property?
private property.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I don't want to infringe on anyone's private property rights. Like,
This
I can't
this
do that.
appears to only apply if that tree, if it fell over, could threaten
or
Structure.
or falls in. I think it's only if it falls in a dead road or is leaning and blocking.
Yeah, I think you got it, Bruce, is adjacent structures or property in the public right of way.
Right.
So it's not just fall in the woods.
Correct. And so I keep trying to explain this to all my towns, we're a complaint-driven system. So for any of this to really apply, I need to receive a complaint, right? So I'm assuming if there's a tree that's a hazard, and we go out there and it qualifies, and yeah, I guess we would use it, but we're not going to look for it.
Oh, well, no, I'm not gonna go look for it.
No, I'm glad we're thinking this through. No, I'm just working with you, yeah.
You know, I'm just saying, anytime you're driving around, because I know where there's several right now that could qualify into this, but it's nothing we have any rights onto.
Yeah, I mean, I will help Clifton in whatever way I can. In Clifton, I have a list of priority items. This actually isn't one of them, but the select board has, Trish and John, that we're trying to meet a need that is coming from the public, and I appreciate you guys' help on this. I agree that I can print this one off for you guys. They both need work, and we're only going to have one for the record. We have two different directions here.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing what they've come up with. So, because I believe it is the planning board's duty to, how can I say, comment if we think something is, because technically ordinances generally originate with the planning board.
Yep.
Rather than with the select board.
Do you have a key to that office?
I think my key will get us to the copy machine.
Okay, yeah, if you give it to me, I'll copy it, and then you guys can look and compare them. Oh.
And I believe that will get you to the copy machine.
Okay, wish you luck. I know. We'll see.
And other than bringing that up so that we can start working on it, because it seemed to be a fairly high priority with John, I'm not sure about Trish, and a couple of residents in town.
Yeah.
The only reason for bringing it up was to try to get moving on it.
Would it make sense to talk to the town attorney before we invest too much time in it? Because, I can see legal challenges to something like this.
Well, I think we're going to leave that up to the select board. I'm not sure if it's on something like this that technically isn't land planning. While we may be involved with the drawing up of it, when it comes to any kind of enforcement or anything, that's not our job. So,
yeah, the one that John made a plan, I thought it was too busy, too overwhelming, so I talked to Valerie and she was gonna look at it. Yeah, it's just
very,
too much. It's like 5 or 6 pages, and it's state statutes, and just it needs to be done. But
the problem with some of these things is people try to in my opinion, overregulate to the point where, why don't we have HOAs?
Yeah.
Maybe the town can act as a giant HOA for everybody.
And like Ally said, she's limited on what she can do at this point. So
It could become a weapon.
Appreciate any help that you guys can do.
Does that all have to be done before, March, the voting?
It won't make it till March.
What's that?
Because once you guys have to, planning board needs to put their 2 cents in, and then it's gotta go through all the select board, and they gotta finalize it, and then it'll go to the lawyer. Lawyer could take 2 days, could take 3 weeks.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then it's gotta come back, and if there's major issues, that can stop it dead in its tracks, and then you'd have to alleviate the issues that the lawyer brings up and start the process again until you can get one that's workable. And then it'll have to go, it won't make it by March. Not enough time.
I just thought that's what this was all about, was to make sure we could get that on track.
It might make it by June,
Right.
Okay, good to know.
but for the June election, that's
Thanks, Fred.
Yep.
possible, but that's.
That's optimistic.
And when it comes to lawyers' influence, that's entirely up to the select board whether to even send it to a lawyer.
Well, if I remember correctly, in the select board meeting, John made a comment that once it was completed, to send it to the lawyer to have it reviewed.
Yeah.
Under home
When we get
rule, the town can pass just about anything it wants to. The issue comes down to, will somebody challenge it? Which is when it ends up in court and the lawyers. And then nobody wins.
And it might even be voted down. Who knows?
That's right.
Yeah.
I think that's why you might have a hard time getting past it.
And the issue, this is the first I had heard that it's like 4 or 5 pages long, that John has come up with. I find that highly likely to get voted down without anybody taking a further look at it. Most people in this town do not want,
Rules and regulations.
or extensive ones.
Yes. Well, what I meant was, tell them exactly what they gotta do. That's why we all moved to the country. Oh yeah, I've got couple of people here didn't move out here.
But saying it, then enforcing it, when you have to enforce these rules, that's a whole different ballgame.
And that also becomes an expense item.
That is a troublemaker now.
No.
Well, like a friend of mine has been dealing with, his deceased spouse and the daughter who
Yeah.
had she's in residential. 2 aneurysms, so her brain is mush. And he thought he had it all settled. And of course the judge said, we want to have another hearing on this. And as he put it, he's already been through $8,000. Just trying to get all the paperwork done.
I was just gonna say, that don't take long.
No. Oh, and the judge wants the daughter that's involved at the hearing.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even know what day it is most of the time. Never mind.
Yeah, that's,
Oh well.
I've already gone through that.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Okay, so as soon as Ally returns, I don't have anything else. Does anyone here have anything? And we'll ask Ally for any report that she wants to make.
I took so long, I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Mrs. Harris.
Yeah, this is so John, we took state standards of littering essentially. And then John, Trish and I met, and then John tried to put it together into an ordinance, but Trish and I all agreed it needed work. So I was supposed to, or I am, I should say, working on it, sending it back to them for version 2, blah, blah, blah. So I'm glad we're working on this now because it helps me out. So if you guys want-
Well, I figure that's part of our job.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate it. Hey, like I said, their focus here was more on littering. Some of this in the one that I just gave you, honestly can be deleted, like tobacco product. That's in the state code. We're not doing, Clifton's small. We can't be regulating tobacco. That, someone throws a cigarette outside. Stuff like that. So I was going to recommend remove that. If you look at,
Well, my feeling right now is anyone on the board who has comments, you can email them to me and to Ally. However, we do not start emailing back and forth. Because technically
as a whole
that's
group, we can't. Right.
technically that becomes a FOIA issue.
Yeah, you guys can email each other individually. You can email me individually, we just can't group email. Yeah. To that point, did you guys get my email? My new email?
Yes.
Yes.
You did? So excited, okay, that's great. That I needed on the server. You didn't?
I was gonna ask you the second last name.
I know, it's my maiden name, my married name, so Truergy's fine. You can do Truergy.
I have what email is that? Was everybody supposed to get that?
Yeah, I think Jody's,
I didn't get one.
did Jody send it to you guys? Let me look.
The only emails I got was for the meeting minutes and the test email that David sent.
Okay, I think, hold on, let me look.
Yes, sir.
OneDrive, no.
I'll have to check. They may not be aware that we're using an additional.
Sure, one of those.
I'm gonna look and see,
I'm
but
remembering 1 and 10.
I made a personal Gmail for Clifton when I started. And then, but we really want all of my documents on the town server. And we also want like the form I made for complaints to be able to go up on the website. And they can't, so they made me one, I think it's code enforcement at Clifton.com. I'll look, just give me 2 seconds here. And I thought Jody emailed everyone, so I was hoping, but let me check.
I did. Okay, we'll check, we will address that. The other thing is simply, the board has no other real business, so now it's
Is it my turn?
it's your turn if you've
Okay.
got anything to go up with.
Okay, so I guess back to this though, I'm gonna continue to work on, do a draft on what I told John and Trish I was going to do. If you guys have any comments between these two, send it to me, and then I will, once we have like a real draft.
It's easy to second guess you.
It's easier to second, I mean, it is hard, the whole thing is hard.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because that one's very technical because it came from state code, this one's very broad. Anyway, so, and then we'll get one working document, and go from there. Okay, you brought up, the whole board brought up, in December, do you guys remember when we met in December? I think we met on December 9th, and it was because I had gotten a call about a business who is where that gym used to be, and now I think it's East Coast Detailing and Diagnostics. And I was in Florida, and he came into the office wanting to know what he needed to do to legally operate. And I thought he was going to submit an application, but he never did. And then I've gotten comments or complaints from a few people asking if he's legal yet. So I called him yesterday, and I think everyone agrees here, we want Clifton to be attractive for business. Like, you want business to come and operate within Clifton. So I want to make it as easy as possible. That said, he was trying to say that he thought he was a home occupation, And he wasn't ready for approval yet because he hadn't technically opened. Since that point, he's got a sign out. I looked online, he has hours of operation. You can schedule things by appointment. I'm gonna end up explaining all this to him that he needs to get approval. I don't think he's a home occupation, honestly. I don't think it fits that, but I'm gonna encourage him to come to you and have you guys score him. I think he'll be very low, tier 1, like the easiest tier to be, and then we can just permit him. But there's no application for that. So do you want me to just give him the questions from Article 12, have him come before you, between code and planning board, we ask him, we score him, determine where he is, and then act accordingly?
That sounds like a good plan.
I know.
What did you say he does again?
It's called East Coast Detailing and Diagnostic. It sounds like what he's doing right now is if you want your car detailed, you can go and he'll detail it. But he also is working with insurance companies for like when there are crashes, and they determine the diagnostics on it. Something to do with insurance. The reason, I know what I just said sounded like common sense, this is what I'm going to tell them to do, but your ordinance says that they are going to give me an application, and then I determine where they are, and then we go to you guys. There is no application, so I'm essentially just going to have him answer these questions and put a little bit of explanation around it. And I'll come to you, you guys can confirm in this instance or deny, and then we'll write him a permit and make it simple, assuming he meets all the standards.
Yeah, my question is if he's doing diagnostics on vehicles that have been in an accident, is he doing repairs? Is he doing mechanics work?
Let's
On
just
site.
say, for
I
argument's
was already
sake,
wondering that.
let's say he was. Why are you asking?
Because I'm pretty sure when we go to non-residential standards that's automobile repair is listed, I'm pretty sure.
As what?
I couldn't tell you right offhand.
Higher than that, though.
What do you mean? You're saying it's listed meaning he doesn't qualify as home occupation?
Very likely.
Oh, I agree for multiple reasons that he's not home occupation level 1 or 2. I think it seems scary to him. I'm going to try to explain it's not. He's zoned commercially. There was like a commercial. I have his property chart here. The land is commercial, service shop. He's actually zoned GMA1, but the zoning use is commercial. I don't think he has anything to worry about. But it needs to happen.
I would agree with you there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have him come. If he refuses to come in front, then that's an enforcement ban. I'll deal with it. But
That'll work.
yeah, okay.
I agree. Anyone else disagree?
I totally agree.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully, if I get time here, I can start making applications. That would be helpful for you and me. Until then, we'll deal with what we have. I've been working on the shoreline zoning ordinance, and I had it up to ask you questions, and now it's not there. Okay. So, do you guys have a comp plan? Remind me. I think you do. It's just outdated.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, with your guys' shoreline zoning ordinance is going to be pretty easy. I'm going to taking the shoreline zoning standards, the non-conforming standards, and anywhere else that I find that it appears throughout the whole land use ordinance, and they gave me a template to use. And yeah, I would say like 25% done with it. It's not hard, I just need time. They have some other zones that they expected us to have, but we can't add new zones unless they're in your comp plan. Like you can't change your zoning map unless it's in the comp plan, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna take all of that out, and
They want to add new kinds of zones.
in shoreline zoning, yeah, I went through this in data. It's called like general development district 1. limited commercial district. I mean, imagine if you're on the coast, you have marinas and stuff like that. I think that is.
This sounds like something appropriate for a city.
Correct, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I guess my point is I'm taking all of that out because we can't add a new zone without a zoning change, which you need your comp plan to say that. And I will now update the minimum lot sizes to reflect what we found, which makes me so happy. Yeah, this will be relatively easy. There will be questions. And I guess I'll ask you guys and the select board. DEP standards for docks, piers, and wharfs. If you have a house and you have your dock, right? It's a temporary dock because you have to pull it out by November 1st. If you don't pull your dock out, it's considered a permanent structure and needs a permit from the town, which would be you guys, and from the DEP. The new standards want code enforcement to permit every temporary dock every year. They want to require that people can only have one dock and that they have to be pulled back 100 feet from shore. In Dedham, I removed that section from the land use ordinance and essentially said, Dedham voted and we as a town are not going to regulate that. That doesn't mean that the standards don't apply. So like if you let your dock in all year round, the DEP and the town would still go after you, but we're not going to limit the number of docks you can have on your shore frontage. And I, as code enforcement, not permitting every single temporary dock every single year. It's just not realistic for a part-time code officer. I'm going to make that same recommendation for Clifton.
And I find it unreasonable that you have to pull it back 100 feet from the water.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Lucerne, it's a big hill. It's just not possible. Same thing with Green Lake. So,
If it's 20 feet back from the water, I'm perfectly happy.
Is that other water, I'm happy.
Not gonna get damaged by ice is probably good enough.
correct.
On our whole family camp, if we pulled it back, because I had a dock in there, temporary every year. If we pulled it back 100 feet, it would have been in the road going by the camp.
So we're going that. And then the other thing.
I wonder what they do with Moose Head Lake, guys. I wonder what they do with Moose Head Lake. I was just thinking, I visited up there last summer. They had big permanent docks out there.
I have two more updates. One is there were two solar companies who were proposing to put a project in Clifton. One of them backed out because of federal permitting and their connectivity agreement with Versant was going to be so high that it wasn't going to be feasible. I don't know about the second one. They actually pulled out of Edmonton too, and they already had approval there, so that was kind of shocking. The other thing is next month I anticipate, according to the email, that there will be a preliminary application for a non-residential activity. It's going to be for sergeants next door at, how do we put the email? I just got it right from this meeting. They were asking what they needed to present to the planning board to expand it from 5 acres to 10 acres. So I gave them the ordinance and I gave them everything they needed. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that they're required to submit, according to your ordinance, actually applies to subdivisions. We've talked about this 100 times, and it just doesn't apply to every activity. So what I told them to do was create an application like they would for the state of Maine or anywhere else, get that together, come before you guys can score them, and then you can tell them as a board anything that you're willing to waive or anything extra you want to see. That's not a decision that I can make, but some of it, they're not wrong. There's some of the stuff that you wouldn't ask for in this instance, and there's some things that you should be asking for that the ordinance doesn't say. So this way, they can just give you the basic stuff, and then you can decide what else you wanna see in addition to it. So I don't anticipate a decision will be made next month. It's preliminary. You're gonna score them, figure out what tier they're at, and then decide what you want them to provide you.
The way most things have been handled before in this, because yes, the way the ordinance is written, there's a lot of questions that don't apply to a commercial enterprise.
Yeah,
But basically, we've said, well, it's here that you have to address it. You simply say not applicable.
yeah, and what I don't want them to do though is say not, that's what I wanted you guys to look at it. If they determine it's not applicable, that you might want it. Like, you might have two different interests going
If
on.
we disagree, we will tell them, go back and
Right.
answer the question.
Yeah, well, it's not a question, it's, have you looked at it? I mean, I know you have, that sounded way more intense. It's this, I gave them Article 6, not, because it's site plan, and there's kind of a lot, actually. The other thing I was gonna say, in the very beginning, it says you want, like, where is it? 3 sets of all plans on a 24-inch by 36-inch sheet and a scale of 1 inch equals 20 feet, et cetera, et cetera. Do you still want that, or do you want to just have them to be able to broadcast on the TV and have 1 copy? Like, do we need 8 copies?
Let me take a look at that. Off the top of my head, I don't feel
Qualified?
qualified to answer it. Does
Yeah.
anyone else?
Well, I just don't know if we need 8 24 by 36 copies of map. That's a lot.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing that for the preliminary.
Right, if you want it, that's a good idea. If you want it for the final, you can tell.
Now, do they gotta go get a DEP for 10 acres?
No, they already permitted for 10.
Okay.
It ought, the way DEP works, you're permitted, you're either, like, their tiers are 0 to 10. The tier here was 0 to 5 for tier 3 low impact. The fact of the matter is when you guys go to score them, you're gonna score them and you're gonna find them at tier 3 low impact still. But if you go to Article 13, it will say for mineral extraction activity, anything over from 5 to 10 automatically gets shot into the moderate impact, tier 3 moderate impact. So they will be judged and scored on moderate impact. I mean, you guys could disagree with me. I don't actually think it's possible because I was very careful when I was doing the preliminary, but that's your guys'. I did mine, I'll present it, and then you guys do it again. And decide.
That's appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sit down and study that out.
Yeah, so what I'll do is this, the week before, one, we have to post, if there's an application, it has to be posted on the agenda a week in advance. So we'll do that. I've had a lot of people say that they want to have an application next month and then they don't ever give me the material. So assuming they get it to me, I will get it to you a week in advance. Then you guys can look at it. I can't promise that all of my supplementary material will be ready a week in advance. It depends on when they give me their stuff, but I will, like when I send them an email, because this has to be done correctly, as everybody knows. But what I did here is, this is Article 13, this is relevant, so then, we can never get to the page, I highlighted the relevant information. I mean, you should still read the stuff around the highlighted stuff, but like this is where it says, if they're over 5 acres, it says acreage affecting 5 to 10 acres, I can't read it, is moderate impact. Doesn't matter if they scored low impact or not, they're automatically bumped up.
Yeah, because we were trying to be more restrictive
Yeah,
as a small town.
yeah, no, I understand. Hold on just one second.
This is one of those times, and I wish Eric was still here because he wrote most of this stuff.
Okay,
What's that?
from my hearing aids, I had a little trouble picking up exactly what is it they want to do, though, I didn't get all
They want to
Yes.
expand they want to expand it from 5 to 10 acres.
Expand.
Yeah.
The extraction,
Quarry right next door.
extraction area. Yep. And then based off of what you score them though, will be the application fee amount that they will pay in advance to your decision now. Based off the new fee setup. That's important. Alright, I guess that's it for me, yeah.
Is there any way to challenge that quarry with a petition from the town?
That is an interesting question, that.
Because I know they did it down in Alfred, Maine. They got enough people in the town to, we've been looking at, we've talked to some real estate agents, and we were told that that quarry impacts everyone within a mile because of the blasting, the air quality, the noise. It affects the property value of our home by 20% because we've already got an abatement from the town. The abatement that we've gotten so far from this town, they have paid less. They paid $220 total for the 5 years, or the 4 years they've been up here. We've got $1,000 for an abatement. So what benefit do they bring to the town? They cost the town money. I've written hundreds of emails to the town regarding the rocks that they leave beside my road, the road in front of our home. The trucks come out of there. In the first 2.5 years, there was 100 trucks a day that impacted our lives. And you know it. I wrote it in emails. It's very upsetting for my husband and I.
I do know that. I will, and you know that.
I know you do, Alexander.
I will look,
They don't tarp their trucks, but thanks to you, Alexander, you did get that memo out.
No, yeah, and let me know if they don't.
Oh, I will.
I'm very, very stern about that. I've never had a tier 3 moderate impact or high impact in the town.
It's always high impact.
No, I'm saying I haven't had that classification of an application yet, so I actually don't know at this point in time, right, if there's a public hearing, if there is an avenue for residents to have any input. There might be, I just don't know, so I'm kind of looking now.
Well, the residents should have a right to people in town should have a right to have a say on that. Because if it impacts a mile, there's a lot of people within this mile.
Yeah, no,
And every time they blast, I have emails, not emails, but on the Clifton, Maine locals, up to a mile, people can hear that blasting and feel it in their house. Imagine being across the road from it. We're 1,500 feet from it.
I understand. I definitely understand, Nancy. If there is a way for residents, from the ordinance, where residents have input, I will ensure that happens. If not, then I don't know what to do. But I will look, and I will let everybody here know that the path forward in that regard. You want me to send you the irrelevant articles of the ordinance, like I sent to them, so that, the ordinance is very intense, it's kind of big.
I appreciate it.
I normally do that with the background finding when I do the application, but it's so complicated, it's worth looking at it. And that way I'm not the only set of eyes on that part of it. I'm gonna forward that to everybody on the planning board so that you can look. You gotta follow from Article 12 to 13 to 14 to 6. I think that's it. But yeah, those are the relevant articles. And as a planning board, you're gonna wanna look at Article 6 the most, because this is what they're supposed to be providing to you. And you can decide what is reasonable to ask and what isn't reasonable. There are some unreasonable things in here that you're asking for a quarry. But if there is a line here that says you are allowed to ask for things beyond what's in that chart, if deemed necessary to make a decision.
Well, can I also say that in the permit that was originally submitted to this board, they said there would be between 15 and 20 trucks a day in and out of that quarry. There was 800 for 2.5 years. And not one person in this room or anyone else cared about that. Not one person. The permit was not enforced. I mean, if it's 15 to 20 trucks a day, how come it wasn't enforced? How come there was 100? They allowed 100. And how many times did you and the rest of the people in this town, the select board, get on them about cleaning up their freaking rocks, which they never did? And as early, they come in at that quarry at 5:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and nobody even cared about that. 5:30 in the morning, we got woken up every morning because of Jake brakes, the vibrations, the noise from those trucks in and out of that quarry, one right after another, because they were working on this 95 extension out here. And even after they were told not to come into the quarry this past year at 7 o'clock, the very next day, 6:15, I believe it was, here they come rolling into the quarry. And you know it, Alexandria, because you have plenty of emails from me complaining about that.
Yeah, and on the new permit, we did put reasonable time of operations, and every time that they come too early, or at an unreasonable time, I've been contacting them.
And then they do it the next day.
So in this instance with the untarped trucks, I have them confirm the memo they sent, and I will be doing that in the future. So
And they were told to top the trucks before, and they didn't do it.
I understand, but now there's accountability here. Like I see that the president of the company sent it out to his truck drivers. If it happens again, that's why I need to know, and then we'll escalate it to the next level. But I will look to see
I think we should petition it, and I'm going to.
Okay.
I will go around and I will get people in town to sign a petition for me.
That is absolutely your right to do that. I will look at the ordinance to see if there's another avenue for public comment. The planning board should review the ordinance, like your job is to, the same as mine, is to apply the standards that were voted on by the public, while also, keeping the town in mind. So I encourage you to look into that before we have it. In next meeting, I don't encourage a vote. I encourage you to score them, look at their pre-application, and ask for more information as necessary. And then, let's do it right.
Anyone here have any other questions or at this time?
Let me make a motion. I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Your time is 6:58.